Hi folks, long time no see. Yeah, well, what have I been doing? I did promise that I would do the Z1 engine, but sorry guys, let you down a little bit. Not been too good. I'm alright now, getting better, but I have made a start actually, but I didn't video some of this because some of it's quite tedious and boring. So what I decided to do was get so far. Now, if you remember last time I put a video together, it was to do with the cleaning of the cases, and everything was stripped down, and I said that I would probably take all the cases, the Z1 casings, to a local company. In fact, it is on the previous video, the name of the guy, Jake. He's very, very good, and they came back absolutely brilliant, and I was very pleased with them. Now, I think I might have shown a clip of that, I'm not quite sure, but anyway, you're going to see them as to where we are at the moment, and I'll just take all the covers off in a minute and show you what we're doing. I don't know whether I'm going to be doing it to that degree of tolerance. I will check things, all the important things for tolerances according to the manual, but quite honestly, just moving stuff around, there's just no play in a lot of the gear. All the gears seem to be good. I've yet to try many other areas, but providing there's no slop, then I'm pretty safe. I feel pretty safe to go ahead. If I go through the tolerances and measurements with limits and fits and all that to the absolute Bible over there, then we're going to be here till doomsday. And to be honest with you, I've sort of been a little bit sidetracked as well, and I apologise, but you'll see why in a minute. I'll show you. So what I've done, I've got to this part. Let me just come over and show you where I am. This is where I've got to. What I might do actually is bring the pod round, and I'll split the casings. This is the case that you saw, which was covered in all sorts of crap and muck. And we've got to a point now, I can't go any far at this stage because I'm waiting for some spares to come through. I need a complete gasket set. I need an endless cam chain. I don't believe in soft links on cam chains. I just think it's too risky, but each to our own. It's important to get everything tip-top ready for the gaskets to be, and then I will close up the engine when we get to that point. But at the moment, this is where we are. I'm just going to get the pod, and I'll take this case is not bolted down. I'll take this top case. Well, it effectively is the bottom case, but it's the top, because as you can see, it's upside down. So let's put this back on the, put you back on the pod. Right, if I get in the shot, sorry, but I've got to get into this bit. There we go. As you can see, all the selectors are in there. Everything's tickety-boo there. Just going to put that over there. Be back in a minute. Now I've put this on a piece of wood because I don't want it resting on the selectors. I want them swinging free. You don't want any bent forks in the selectors. This has to be torqued down. There's still loads of work to do on there, but it is coming together. I've made a start on it, and I will be filming more of it as we go. Now, here we go. The dog teeth on this are superb. I don't know how many miles this engine's done. This engine is not a matched engine number with the frame, but I really do believe that this engine is tickety-boo. There's a couple of marks on the crankshaft which made me, yeah, there's one there. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think it's anything. It might be where it's been bashed. Maybe someone split this engine before. I really don't know, although it's still got the Kawasaki sealant on it, so I really have got no idea. There is something though which did make me think, if you get a crankshaft out of line, they do tap them to bring them in. I know that sounds crazy, but they do tap them with a copper mallet and it tends to knock it true. That I think I've seen on a couple of other channels, but do go research, have a look. It did strike me as a bit balmy, but when they clock it up after they've tapped it, it is true. So the crankshaft's good, the cam chain obviously sits there. The clutch is in good order. I've cleaned all the clutch out, got a little bit of rust, surface rust there, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. It's all been scrubbed out. I might see if I can get a bit more of that off all around here. But the teeth are in good order. The dog teeth is what normally goes, and as you can see, if you look closely there, that's square. It's not rounded on the edges here, which is really good. And it goes for all of them really. They just all slot in nice and neat and tidy. And there's no play on this. This is what I was saying earlier. To go down the avenue of stripping all these down, I can't really see the point. There's just no play. There's a little bit of movement there, but I don't think that's a major amount of movement. But they're all in really good condition. There's no play in the bearings. I've checked the bearings because obviously they really need to be absolutely spot on. But yeah, it's all good. All good. That end float is because the nut's not on. There's a nut that goes in there to hold all that on. But it's looking good. Right, okay. Confession time. Just switch cameras, guys. Some time ago, let's get out of that light. Some time ago, I started looking at classic BMWs. Now, as you guys know, my main go-to bike is really Kawasaki, but it's funny how things change. I still love Kawasaki's. I know Kawasaki's fairly well, especially the 900s, 1000s. And in the 80s, we were working on I was working a lot of friends' bikes as well, trying to help out where I could. But it all started off, as some of you may recall, when my mum was on her way, passing over to get down to Bristol. The motorhome we had major problems with, so I couldn't use that. So I bought this RT, this 1200 RT Boxer. And first of all, I thought, what have I done? But it didn't take me long to realise that it was a pretty good bike, but different, just very different to what I was used to. Anyway, that really set me thinking about it. I did buy a Versys, which I've still got. I may sell that Versys, and it's like new. It's only got 5,000 miles on there, so anybody who's interested, drop a comment down below. But recently, I started getting interested in classic BMWs. I saw one, and I just love that slow tick over. I know it's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. But I just think it's great. And this is really what has sidetracked me from doing the Z1. Let's go and have a look. Switch cameras. There he is. He's called Rommel. And he sits next to Zebedee. All you guys have seen this one before. This is the engine we built last year ago. And that's running a treat. But this is Rommel. And Rommel is 74, 75 years of age. And it is a BMW R51/3. Now, I'm not really familiar with these engines, other than what my own knowledge carries me through, so to speak, with just experience. But this is a new, for me, this is a new ball game. It's quite a simple system, but bear in mind, it was built in 1951. So consequently, things are going to be very, very different. It runs a real treat. There is some tap-in sound on this pot. I've checked the tappets, I've checked the rockers, I've made sure that there's no end float, or very little end float with the rockers up and down movement, which is important apparently. The battery's all been connected up, and it does sound an absolute treat. So this is what I've been distracted with, and I apologise for not getting on to the Z1 earlier, but you know, things happen, things change. But he's an incredible little bike. I've taken it out, and I have to say, it is literally going back in time. Literally going back in time. So I don't know what we're going to be doing with this. I will cover that at a later date. Let's go back to the Z1. So what's the plan now? Well, can't really do a lot because I'm waiting for some spares, namely the gasket set and the cam chain. I need obviously the gaskets for the exhaust. I need all that, although that's not really a major issue. We can do that at a later date. Not quite sure. This is the dilemma that I'm in now. Let's just put you back in the pod. This is the dilemma I'm in. Don't really know what to do about this one, and my back has been pretty bad, so I don't know whether I'll take on the job. But what I was thinking of doing, if my back was good, what I would like to do is I would love to take the engine out of Zebedee, which was the engine. Let's go over there. I'd love to take that engine out. I know it seems backwards, excuse me, but I'd like to take that engine out, and I'd like to put that engine back in. Because if you remember rightly, I said that came from the States. It's okay, it's a lovely engine, everything's tickety-boo, it's been rebuilt, and it runs a treat. It really purrs. Do go back and look at the video with the test run. It really does sound good, and it's only done, since I rebuilt it, it's probably done about 200-300 miles. So it's due to have a few things done on it. Oil change, filter change, maybe retorque the head, check the tappets, not the tappets, that's on this one, tappets. Check the shims, the clearance on the cams and the shims, and just generally do a check over with it after the 500-mile rebuild. But I don't know what to do. What do you think, guys? I welcome your comments. Do I take it out and put the original one back in? To be honest with you, engine for engine, wear-wise, there's not a lot of difference. There really isn't. In fact, I would go as far as to say maybe that gearbox on this one is probably a little bit better. But there's not a lot in it. There's not a lot in it. Anyway, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think I should do? Bear in mind my back's been really bad, and that's another reason I haven't done a lot of work in the workshop. Anyway, that's where we are at the moment. I welcome all your thoughts, and I'm really chuffed as well, even though I haven't been doing any work in the workshop with any of these engines, apart from tinkering with the new boy Rommel. To my absolute surprise, it's gone to 600 subscribers. For me, that's a lot. I don't see me getting, way up in the thousands like some channels do, but I really appreciate all the contributions. I appreciate all the subscribers and the comments, which a lot of people have put below when I was doing the previous engine. So, ask any questions, anything I can help with, just stick it down below. And on that note, I'm going to say cheerio, and I'll be back, don't know when, but it won't be long, because we've started on this machine now, this engine, and I'm just waiting for the gasket set and a few other parts. But let me know what you think, and any comments you want to make back down below about whether we should take the other one out or whether we should put this one back in. I don't know. Leave it as it is. I don't know. I'm welcome to hear what you guys think, because without you guys, the channel doesn't exist, does it really? I'm having to sit here talking to a camera, but unless people are watching it, there's no point. So ride safe, drive safe, and I'll be back soon. Take care. Bye for now.